Hey everybody, I've got an interesting lesson for you today. Crazy tips and tricks using MIDI, what are they called again? MIDI effects. MIDI effects. Yeah, a lot of people are like confused by MIDI effects a little bit. I think a lot of people just tend to use loops, audio loops and things, and they don't get, sometimes they don't get into MIDI loops and kind of doing really crazy stuff with MIDI stuff. Beginners, especially. So, but this is going to tell you how to shoot past the beginning phase and become a MIDI ninja. So what I'm going to do in this, let me show you what I'm going to demonstrate here now. Here's a real simple sort of a, picture, I don't know, theme for a new ABC Family show, whatever. I don't know. Listen, ready? That's what we're going to start with. That's the theme. Can you hear that? All right. Well, let me show you the whole thing where it's going to go. This is really just to demonstrate what we're starting with. Boring, boring. Not so boring. And then the big build. Okay, so it sounds like I got a lot of crazy piano stuff going on there, but believe it or not, all of the piano clips are super simple. Like this first one here, this is what you're seeing, right? It's just like the same note over and over again. It's just really boring. And here's the next one, really boring. And the next one, what do you know? It's the same. The last one, I actually even added a note. And take that one out. This note up here, ooh, really complicated. So you're asking yourself, well, how does it go from being just, simple loop or, simple dung, 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 dung to being so complicated? All right. So here's where I used a bunch of MIDI effects. All right. Now, let's jump to a section here where everything is sort of active. And let's look at our MIDI effects. All right, so what I wanted to do is have a simple way of you press one note and you get a chord, okay? And the way you do that is you use the chord device, all right? Simple. And I went so far as to just use a major chord. So I dropped that down in here. If you see, let's start with another track. What the heck? I will just insert MIDI track. And I will put on that track, I will put a, I don't know, operator, or, yeah, mallets. What the heck? And I will solo that track, and I will insert a MIDI clip, and that MIDI clip will have C2 on it, and then I will duplicate that. All right, now if I play that, I'm not using my keyboard for some reason. All right, it just keeps playing that note over and over again. Now let's come over here and let's go our MIDI effect again. Let's grab a chord and throw that in there. Started playing from there again. And right now there's no, okay, so I'm playing a first and then 4 steps above it, which is a third, and then 7. Voila, we have a chord, okay? So that's how I'm taking a single note and turning it into chords. All right, so what next? Now, there's a lot more going on. So the major chord piece is a big chunk of it there, okay? So I'm gonna keep this in, I wanna stay in the key of C major, and I'm gonna like jump around in the key of C major. I'm gonna play some other, some other chords within there, and I'm gonna like do some crazy stuff to it. But what I wanna do is I want to enforce it to stay in the key. So there's this wonderful MIDI object called a scale, which forces you, like if you had a diagonal straight across here, right, all the notes would be in it. But instead what it's doing is saying, okay, the second note here, normally it'd be a sharp note, or it would be an accidental, a black note here. So you're going to force that one back down to be the same as this one, right? So these two play the C. So even if you play C sharp, it's going to play that C. And then D sharp is going to drop back down to D. E is cool. That's just normal. E and F are on the diagonal. Then F sharp gets forced to be F. G is normal. G sharp gets to become G, and so on. Okay, so it's going to force those notes to stay in the key. Now in this case, if I have a major chord and I play middle C, it's just going to play straight through that major chord, right? Because it's going to generate a major chord, give it to the major scale, and nothing's going to happen. So let's come back to this one and see that. All right, scale C major. I'm going to put that there and watch what happens. All right, just gets through. Now if I did something crazy like this, right? These notes are going to get remapped down here and lose their chordalness, but they're staying in there. All right, so, we're playing C over and over again. Now, what if I want to change? I don't want to just play C's over and over again, right? So now what I'm going to do, I could just go in and start editing up my pattern here, right? I could do this. I could just say, oh, the next one's going to be an F, and the next one's going to be G. Make sure to stay within the, play that. Totally cool. So that's one way to do it. But I like taking this, sort of the one note challenge, and let's not, have to look at notes at all, sort of. I come back over here and I say, all right, let me put a pitch control in here. Now this is, by default, it's pitching up an octave. I'm gonna have it come down. Okay. So this is now on playing the same note in. It's not going to change anything. So now it's trying to play a major chord starting on C sharp, which is going to get filtered here. It's not going to happen, right? So that becomes this kind of interesting, but staying within the key. So it plays a C, and then it plays a F, and it plays a G in there. So what would that be? The diminished D minor. I don't know. Something weird. It's probably obvious, and I'm just drawing a blank at the moment. But the cool thing is, it is forcing it to stay in the key. It comes up with some weird chords. Now, they're not all going to be major chords either, right? They're just going to be chords that are within the key of C major, okay? So within C major, if you play a D chord, that would have to be a D minor because there is no F sharp in D. So, F sharp in C. So that's what's kind of enforcing to happen here. So let's see. I try to play a D, for instance, and you see this F sharp here gets forced to be an F. So I play a D minor chord within there. Kind of cool. And then the E is a E minor. The F is a F major, right? Just maps correctly. G maps correctly. And I don't know exactly what that one is in there. Now that should be trying to play like an A minor, a B of some B minor diminished something. Well, anyway, I told you we weren't going to get into crazy theory. All you need to know is that, yes, it's staying within the key. All right, so now to have fun with it, I come over here and I open up an envelope, and I'm still kind of fumbling with this a little bit. I can do this. Watch this. Ready? I come over here and I say, okay, pitch, show modulation, and I get to this screen over here. So now I can start to... So I'm playing around with the chord and it's going up and down. And the cool thing is I can then come back to not show the modulation. And watch this, ready? My harmonic structure is just sort of happening. Keeping everything on C there. My rhythm's weird because I just like screwed up, but... All right, so you get the idea, right? I have this envelope, come back, show the envelope again, that is forcing it to come down. In this case, it's not going to be 0.88 steps, but it's going to be like 6 steps down. And then this one should be like 3 steps up. Right? Kind of fun. Now, there's even more than that going on in that other track I was showing you before, my TV track, whatever it was. I figured, okay, now I've got some harmonic motion going on. But I want to add more stuff to it because I like adding stuff. So I just grabbed a simple arpeggiator, and you can throw an arpeggiator in there. And that's a really boring one. So it's kind of breaking apart my chords into individual notes, which is cool, but I don't like it too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group that, and I'm going to create another chain in here. So I'm playing my original chord straight through the chain, and the other one is using the arpeggiator to kind of create this kind of bouncy thing on top of it. And they're using the same notes, which I don't think is too awesome. So I'm going to grab a pitch object here, and I'm going to pitch the arpeggiated version up. And I can even start playing with it. That was kind of pretty. So, you get the idea. How long has this been? Let's see. Oh, almost 15 minutes. So I'll stop at 15 minutes. But that's just to give you an idea where you can go, how powerful the major, the scale device and the chord device, and how you can really, from a single note, create these kind of cool explorations of different keys. And I can't find my mouse. Oh, okay. Yeah, to see kind of what's going on. I'll go back to my, leave that some. I should talk to you a little bit. So what's going on here? Why do things change? I'm just turning the devices on and off. Like here's when I turn that. You'll see the MIDI effect rack, the one that creates the chords, and I have another effect rack that does the arpeggiation, right? So what happens is I start off here, both of them turned off, and in a second you'll see the chord one turn on, right? And then over here, you see the arpeggiator turn on. And I just have some simple drum loops to kind of, give it a little bit more of a build there. So, all right, until next time, that's fun with MIDI effects. And maybe I'll have some more MIDI effects. Ooh, slam my elbow. Hate when that happens. All right, until next time, this is Eric at Learn Max. Check out my website, erasermice.com, for cool Max for Live devices. Ow!